Morning, sir. How are you doing?
Johnnie?
I'm greater than Accra. I like the way Black Rasta mentions your name. Eric Mawina Egbeta. Nah, Mawina. What do you have in front of you?
So we have the Daily Guide newspaper. The lead story here: NDC's Quaison faces 10 years for perjury. Comes with a picture of the embattled former MP, who the NDC says is their preferred candidate for that by-election come June 27, and it's also captured on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. Sin North by-election June 27. That's according to the EC. Market Queens pick forms for Alan. Was present at the party headquarters yesterday for that, and Domelevo's forced leave unlawful Supreme Court.
William, what do you have?
I have the Daily Graphic, Truth, Accuracy Every Day, promoting responsible fishing, protection of ocean vital. That's according to the President. President Akufo-Addo assets at Blue Economic Summit. Asin North by-election scheduled for June 27, and Konfanochi Teaching Hospital suspends 2 doctors for extortion. Domelevo's leave unconstitutional according to the Supreme Court. On the back page of the Daily Graphic, Vice President inaugurates House of Chiefs building. We come back, we get the details.
The details right about now on 3FM Sunrise.
I was operating in a very toxic environment, a situation where you watch what you drink, you watch what you eat, you even watch who you talk to and what you say among your colleagues, because you know that you are operating in an enemy territory. I think it was wrong. So to me, it was a relief, even though many people think otherwise. The highest office of the land, the office of the president, should rather be seen as enforcing or complying with the laws of the land, instead of being at the forefront of violating or breaching these laws. Never again do I think it will happen. Since the Supreme Court has decided on it, I am sure it will be upheld by this government and subsequent government.
3FM Sunrise.
As the former Auditor General, Domel over there, and by a unanimous decision, there's a story by Malik Suleimana. The Supreme Court yesterday declared that the decision by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to ask Daniel Yao Domelevo to proceed on accumulated leave in 2020 is unconstitutional. A panel presided over by Justice Nene Amegache again declared that the directive appointing Acting Auditor General Mr. Johnson Ikuyamoe-Sidu, when the substantive Auditor General had not been removed, is unconstitutional and null and void. Nana Santi-Bediato, the secretary to the president, signed the green letter addressed to Mr. Domelevo on June 29, which instructed the former Auditor General to proceed on 167 days leave starting from Wednesday, July 1, 2020. Following the directive to Mr. Domelevo, now retired, to proceed on leave, 8 civil society organizations organized a press conference and subsequently sued the Attorney General and Minister of Justice on October 26, 2020. The Center for Democratic Development, the Integrity Initiative, Citizen Ghana Movement, Africa Center for Energy Policy, Parliamentary Network Africa, Pen Plus Byte, Media Foundation for West Africa, Send Ghana, and One Ghana Movement. They are the ones who took the matter to court. And today we are here. The Supreme Court says President Akufo-Addo got it all wrong. How did all of this drama happen in the first place? Because the president is supposed to be a human rights lawyer.
Yeah.
At least that was what was sold to us. And
I like the way you say sold.
Yes, because not everybody has had the opportunity to read the cases and the Ghana Law Report. So a lot more people were told that the president is a human rights lawyer, because if you cast your mind back to the campaigns before then, even when he was campaign manager for his predecessors, people saw him as an arrogant, a tyrant, and, very, very intolerant individual. So fast forward to 2012, 2016, when those accolades were sold to us and we bought them. You're seeing too many of these infractions coming up. It doesn't look good on the president's image at all. I don't know. What do you think, William?
As I said yesterday, 1979, 1980, thereabout, when the late Chief Justice Frederick Apalu, there were issues about his appointment as Chief Justice. It was Nana Akufo-Addo and Mr. Chachuchikata, who stood for the for the plaintiff to four, who was then a lecturer at the University of Science and Technology,
Right.
to kick against the decision of Parliament, and if you like the state, to try and tamper with the position of Mr. Palu as Chief Justice. So Nana Akufo-Addo comes from that point. You know, he's somebody who stands for office holders who are legitimately in office. He stands for human rights. So yesterday we said here that look, you cannot be hopping from chapter 8, which guarantees your powers,
to chapter 7.
to chapter 7 and other chapters, to be doing things without knowing your way around the constitution. As a lawyer, his executive secretary is a lawyer. In the Flagstaff House, he has a lawyer.
His spokesperson is
He's a lawyer. So I'm saying this
Even a social media manager is a lawyer.
yeah, so at the end of the day, we were having some discussion in the newsroom yesterday. Mawena and I and others were having discussion. I was in that look. Mr. Domilevo did not push personally. He did not push for his position to be, restored. It was the civil society organizations that he said he was tired.
He said it was
yes.
even a relief for him
Yes.
because he worked in a toxic
Yes.
space.
Yes.
He was
And then-
careful of
and
what
that
he
was-
drank, ate,
and that's the point
who
I
he
was
spoke
making
with.
yesterday, that he did not push for it. So for us as citizens, we should be happy that the CSOs went ahead and did that. So the presidents will be to our advantage. What you get personally, he said, I don't think he cares about that so much.
Yeah,
because
he says that he's not going to bed.
exactly. So all these have come to point to the president that look, you cannot be doing some of this. This is a ruling that just came hours after you and I discussed what he was doing.
That's
at
right.
the
Electoral Commission, yes.
So if somebody or the CSOs take the Electoral Commission issue to court and the whole thing flies in his face again, what is he going to say as a human rights lawyer? I mean, your credentials are now just going down the drain.
Charlie. And yet,
Well, I just believe that consistently there have been no repercussions for some of these very flagrant breaches of the constitution, because on face value, from the onset, I don't know what right thinking Ghanaian saw what the president was doing and could argue otherwise. The most disappointing bit of it is what appears to be equalization, because it was done to the board chair of the audit service and all of that. And so if it was done by one person, what is wrong if it's been done by another? That was the reason why they were voted out. Wasn't that the reason why the NDC lost by over 1 million votes? And so if someone did something wrong and they were kicked out by over 1 million votes, and you come and quite flagrantly decide to do the same thing, it's the level of reasoning.
well, the whole point is that these CSOs and many of us in the media raised the red flags when these things were happening. We spoke about it, and funny enough, the same people who are today trying to equalize and say, oh, it happened under President Mills and all of that. I mean, who brought this whole proceed on leave thing? Who entrenched it? It was President Kufuor. When he got in year 2001, he asked too many people to proceed on leave, which is why in 2009, when Professor Mills took over, and he wasn't willing to immediately ask MMDCs particularly to proceed on leave, and many other people in such
His
cases.
own people
Yes,
were
they
even
were
raising
saying about,
concerns.
well, what are you doing? It's been done to us. Do something to them and all of that. So this proceed on leave thing, if you want to do the equalization, you go back to the Kufuor era. Now, if you read Professor Jampo's Facebook page, he said that even in those days, Dan Botchwey as General Secretary could tell President Kufuor that back off.
Yeah.
Today, where is Justin Kodua Frimpong? Is he able to tell the president?
He can't.
Kwabena Japan could have told the president to back off if he was still General Secretary. Because Kwabena Japan is known publicly to have done that in the past, and nothing happened. What this means for me, which I'm happy about, is that it's victory for our democracy, one, because it sets a precedence. But then again, you have heard from many NDC people how when or if they win power, they will go straight for the Electoral Commission boss. They will go for those who are politically tainted, who have been put there, and in many other places. They have even mentioned that to security people and all of that. What it means is that hope may be dashed, because there's now precedence. So you can't touch Jean Mensa like Charlotte Osei was touched. You get the point. You can't, because now the Supreme Court has made it clear that if you go there, then there's a constitution.
You can't
go there.
You can't ask them to proceed.
No, you can't do that, because they are supposed to be independent. So yes, Charlotte Osei may have suffered it, Domelevo may have suffered it, but going forward, it's not going to be. Even if you take that decision against this precedent and somebody goes to court, you will be punished for it, because now you know, and you willingly went ahead and did it. That's what it means.
Johnny, so I'm happy this has happened, because I am of the view that we should be going to court more.
You have said that. Yeah.
That we should go to court. Journalists, civil society organizations should go to court. But on this note, I'm also trying to point out to the politicians that when they are taking some of these decisions, besides and beyond the law, they should check the temperature in the country. You mentioned President Kufuor asking people to go on leave. When President Kufuor came, we had come from about 18 or 20 years of military rule, including President Rawlings's 8 years as a civilian president. So naturally, he was not too comfortable with the military elements or the soldiers in the system. So he did that. Must we also continue to do that? I mean, this balancing thing. It is not everything that you balance.
You don't balance.
You know what I mean? So there was a reason, legitimate or not, there was a reason why President Kufuor did that. So I'm happy that this has happened, so that when the NDC comes or MPP comes again, they will not just be throwing people in and out of public office.
That's right. It's good.
For the president, I think it's one too many. I know there's a lot of talk about image and all of that, but you cannot consistently be seen making decisions that fly in the face of the law. For someone of his stature, his reputation, it is beyond worrying. That's for starters, because I can't explain how many individuals consistently made the argument that the line he was towing was wrong, and yet it appears. That's why I keep saying that there needs to be repercussions for some of these flagrant breaches. It cannot be that you just decide by your own volition, you're president, and then you decide to act unconstitutional. That same constitution you promised to protect and defend. Please.
And also beyond the constitution, NPP's own party. Do you know the motto? Development in freedom.
Yeah. What was Domelevo's? I mean, up until now, nobody has told us exactly what Domelevo did. The question was about his
123.
Yes.
They should proceed. When he wrote to them, they said, you brought yourself, we've added more days, go home and go and sleep.
You see, the point is that the board chairman,
he was fighting him.
The board chairman was literally fighting him.
Yeah. He had actually had cause to write to the president to raise complaints.
Beautiful. And the president had endorsed what the board chairman has said and asked the man to proceed on leave. Ironically, months down the line, the same president was busy asking board chairmen of state-owned enterprises not to be meddling in their affairs.
To back off.
And you see,
so that's confusion.
It is confusing
that's confusion.
Because
you as board chairman, the board chairman of all board chairmen, you did that.
See, this thing happened at the cylinder manufacturing company. This board chairman, chief executive thing, and it's interesting that the president is always in there to take a certain action which is unpopular, because if you nominate and appoint an individual into public office, you should just leave the person to go through the good governance, corporate governance system processes. If you try to bring any political hand in there after you've appointed the person, you have problems, because every institution has its own rules and regulations. Some in the acts that established them, and some in the constitution of the republic. So you, as a lawyer, should know that administrative law will tell you that those processes, if you go outside them, natural justice will be touched, and the laws will get you. It's a very simple legal, arguments that anybody should know, especially the president and his team.
Right, and from this, we should get updates on the request to have the directors of the Electoral Commission submit their CVs. We should get updates. It shouldn't be on the quiet and then everything will happen. We are tired of all of this.
You are looking for updates.
The Electoral Commission said they were going to issue a statement.
I don't think they can do it.
They can't do anything. And this is clear. The Supreme Court has and they has actually told you that you are independent. Stay independent.
The thing is as clear as TV3.
Charlie, and crystal clear as 3FM. There's very little you can do about it. I mean, and you're right, Marina, when you say this has become one too many.
It really has.
One too many. One too many. You would expect this from, forgive me, a Jerry Rollins, and say that he's a soldier buga man, you know, he has to. But
proper president.
Come on, who grew up in a presidential home, who schooled in Oxford and all those schools, came back, set up a law firm, and his credentials are there. The lawyers that came through his hands. So
together with
when basic legal, flip-flopping is being done. Even me as a non-lawyer, I won't do that.
I said, go and read the arguments that Nana Akufo-Addo and Chikata put up for Chief Justice Apalu. And you said the man is always in for people like Domelo. Why?
So why did he fail on this occasion?
Why?
The backstory, I'm sure, will come one day.
So there's always a minor inaudible motive to cover up a major.
It was clear from the onset, but we'll get into those things later.
Charlie, thank you so much, guys. Preparing for Johnny's Bite in a bit. Hey.